Welcome everyone to another exciting deep dive into the incredible world of rare coins, where a simple penny you might overlook in your change could actually be hiding a value beyond imagination. And today we're exploring one of the most unbelievable stories in modern numismatics as we uncover how a 1951 wheat penny, a coin millions of people have handled without a second thought, shocked the entire collecting community by reaching an astounding value of $184 million thanks to a mix of bizarre mint errors, historic production quirks, and unexpected conditions that turned an ordinary Lincoln cent into one of the rarest treasures ever discovered. So get ready, because this fascinating journey will open your eyes to how small mistakes at the mint, combined with specific variations and preserved details, can elevate a 1-cent coin into a financial miracle that many collectors still find hard to believe. The 1951 wheat penny, part of the beloved Lincoln Wheat series minted from 1909 to 1958, was never expected to become such a numismatic superstar because it was produced in large quantities, with hundreds of millions struck across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But the extraordinary piece that skyrocketed to $184 million wasn't just any coin. It was a once-in-a-lifetime combination of ultra-rare errors, nearly impossible conditions, and historical oddities that came together in a way that makes this coin stand out like a shining beacon among millions. While most wheat pennies from the early 1950s are affordable and common, this particular 1951 wheat penny became a phenomenon due to multiple overlapping anomalies, including a dramatic double die obverse that created thick, shadow-like doubling on the date and lettering, a misaligned die strike that shifted the design just enough to catch the attention of experts, a rare copper planchet impurity that altered the metal composition in a detectable way, and a pristine state of preservation that somehow survived decades without a single noticeable scratch, nick, or circulation mark, almost as if it had jumped straight from the mint presses into a time capsule waiting for its moment to stun the world. Imagine pulling a wheat penny from a jar only to find the date 1951 doubled boldly under magnification, the letters of liberty, and "I in God we trust" appearing thicker, layered, and strikingly crisp, each element raised with unusual separation lines that reflect a dramatic double die error. One of the most sought-after types of mint mistakes that collectors go crazy for because it requires specific die misalignment during hubbing and rarely affects so many major design elements at once. And to make the story even more unbelievable, this same coin also displayed a subtle off-center strike that left the outer rim uneven, giving a tangible visual cue that the coin didn't leave the mint in a perfectly aligned condition. On top of these major visual errors, experts found that the planchet itself had a slight metal impurity, meaning the copper composition didn't follow the exact mint standard for 1951 wheat pennies, and while the difference was microscopic, advanced testing revealed traces of a composition anomaly that added yet another layer of mystery to the coin's origin, sparking speculation that the planchet was accidentally mixed from leftover pre-war or experimental metal batches, something that very rarely happened but was possible during transitional years when minting materials were being shifted, recycled, or recalibrated. Collectors began analyzing how the coin remained untouched for so many decades, with theories suggesting it may have been part of a sealed mint bag that was misplaced in a storage vault, or perhaps a collector unknowingly kept it in a small box of household keepsakes that never saw daylight until a modern expert realized its significance, and this miraculous preservation pushed the grade into the highest category. A near impossible feat for coins from the early 1950s, since most had been used heavily during the post-war economy, where pennies circulated constantly as people relied on every denomination of currency. But what truly pushed this 1951 wheat penny into the realm of $184 million was the combination of its visual errors, structural anomalies, historical timing, and the intense emotional value tied to wheat pennies themselves, because collectors often describe these coins as reminders of simpler American eras, and when a coin blends nostalgia with undeniable rarity, The demand for ownership skyrockets far beyond standard valuation metrics. Auction houses reported unprecedented interest from wealthy investors, private collectors, and even museums that wanted to secure this once-in-history piece, driving the bidding into a frenzy where each new offer shattered expectations until the final sale settled at the unbelievable figure that left even the auctioneer astonished. Experts explain that high-value coins like this become legendary not only because of errors, but because of the stories behind them, and the 1951 wheat penny story reads like a perfect storm of unlikely circumstances: a rare double die, a misaligned strike, a planchet impurity, decades of untouched preservation, a beloved series with widespread collector interest, and a discovery during a period when coin collecting was trending at an all-time high, meaning the timing of its emergence maximized excitement. In addition to the primary errors, tiny micro-details added even more intrigue, such as minute die cracks branching across Lincoln's shoulder and faint die polish lines suggesting the die used for this coin may have been hastily restored before striking, a practice the mint sometimes performed in high-demand years to keep up with production, leading to variations only visible under specialized magnification. And these microscopic differences further prove that the coin came from a unique die state not widely documented. Another fascinating possibility comes from theories that this coin might have been part of an experimental strike run conducted after official hours, something that occasionally happened when mint workers tested adjustments or machinery. And although no records confirm this for the 1951 penny, the unusual planchet composition and overlapping errors have opened the door for speculation, adding an extra layer of mystery that buyers found irresistible. Many collectors emphasize that when multiple errors appear together on a single coin but still result in a complete, visually appealing design, it becomes exponentially more desirable because most multi-error coins become too damaged or distorted to attract premium interest. But this 1951 wheat penny managed to maintain exceptional eye appeal while showcasing dramatic mint anomalies, a combination so improbable that experts still call it a statistical miracle. The psychological impact of owning such a rare wheat penny further amplified its value because major collectors often compete fiercely to add historically significant pieces to their personal vaults. And when a coin like this appears only once in a lifetime, competition becomes emotional rather than rational, driving prices into astronomical territory as individuals try to outbid each other for the privilege of possessing a piece of minting history that might never appear again. This incredible auction result also inspired collectors worldwide to re-examine their own wheat pennies from jars, albums, and inherited collections, wondering if they too might have overlooked a rare error or unique feature capable of transforming a simple penny into a 7- or 8-figure treasure. Stories surfaced of people finding double dies, repunched mint marks, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and off-center errors in their old collections, proving that rare varieties are still out there, hiding in plain sight. And this is exactly why the world of coin hunting remains such a thrilling and rewarding hobby. The 1951 wheat penny that sold for $184 million serves as a reminder that even the smallest details matter when it comes to evaluating coins, and anyone looking through their change should take an extra moment to inspect dates, lettering, rims, and overall appearance, because a rare error can transform a penny's value from one cent to life-changing wealth. Ultimately, the legend of this extraordinary coin continues to grow, inspiring curiosity, passion, and excitement among collectors, hobbyists, and newcomers alike, proving once again that the world of coins is full of surprises waiting to be discovered if you simply take the time to look closely, because history, rarity, and pure luck can combine to turn even the most ordinary coin into a priceless masterpiece that captures the imagination of the entire world. Next, 1951's wheat penny. Get ready for another exciting deep dive into the world of rare American coins, where ordinary-looking pocket change suddenly transforms into life-changing treasure. And today we're exploring one of the most astonishing stories in the Lincoln Cent series, The legendary 1951 wheat penny that collectors believe could command an unbelievable $50 million because of an incredible combination of rare mint errors, striking anomalies, production quirks, and the extraordinary circumstances that make this unassuming piece of copper one of the most fascinating coins ever discussed in numismatic circles. And as we travel through its mystery, its history, and its potential, you'll understand why experts, collectors, and treasure hunters alike keep their eyes glued to every 1951 penny they come across, hoping that one of them hides the same remarkable traits that push it into the realm of unimaginable value. Beginning with its origin at the San Francisco Mint during a period when minting technology, quality control, and die maintenance were far less precise than what we see today, creating the perfect environment for a variety of dramatic and subtle errors that can drastically inflate a coin's worth. And when it comes to the 1951 South Wheat Center, those possibilities include everything from double dies to misaligned strikes, repunched mint marks, off-center errors, die cracks, die chips, planchet flaws, and a combination of mistakes so unusual that some collectors believe only a single surviving example with the perfect storm of anomalies could realistically reach a $50 million valuation, starting with one of the most talked about errors associated with this year, the repunched mint mark, because during the early 1950s mint workers often applied mint marks manually using hand punches, which opened the door to variations like S over S, where the mint mark was punched more than once, creating shadows, doubling, crooked placement, or distorted impressions that can increase desirability. And while many 1951 RPMs are known, the rarest would be one where the repunching is extreme, highly visible, and paired with additional errors on the coin, combining multiple minting mistakes into one extraordinary piece. And this is where speculation about the $50 million example truly begins, because the theoretical perfect specimen would have to contain more than one major error, such as doubling on the obverse, particularly on the date, liberty, or the motto, with crisp, unmistakable doubling like a true Class 1 rotated hub doubling, which is extremely rare for this year, but still within the realm of possibility due to how hubs and dies were created and maintained during this era. And if such doubling existed alongside an RPM and perhaps additional die deterioration signs, the coin would move from simply rare to nearly unparalleled in the world of wheat cents. But it doesn't stop there, because another major factor contributing to the hypothetical value is the potential presence of significant planchet errors, such as a wrong metal strike, where the coin is accidentally minted using a leftover bronze planchet from a previous or experimental production batch, or even a foreign coin planchet intended for coins minted for another country, as U.S. mints sometimes produce currency for foreign nations. And mistakes occasionally occurred when incorrect blanks accidentally entered the presses, resulting in coins that weigh differently, ring differently, and stand out immediately to trained collectors. And if a 1951 wheat penny were discovered struck on a foreign planchet in combination with striking irregularities and an RPM, it would instantly catapult into the realm of multimillion-dollar possibilities, especially if preserved in high grade with minimal circulation wear. But beyond planchet issues, we can also consider dramatic striking errors, like extreme off-center strikes that leave enough of the design visible to authenticate the coin while still exhibiting a bold, jaw-dropping minting mistake, or a broad strike error that causes the coin to spread out wider than normal because the collar failed to contain the metal during striking, giving the coin an oversized, irregular appearance that instantly draws attention. Though for a price as high as $50 million, we'd likely be looking for something more nuanced and layered than a single dramatic error, such as the combination of an off-center strike, retained cud, heavy die cracks, and multiple die chips that create visually stunning anomalies across the fields and devices of the coin, all the while maintaining enough detail to show that it is indeed a 1951 South Wheat Center in exceptional condition. And then there is the possibility of a mule error, one of the rarest mistakes in the minting world. occurring when two dies that were never meant to be paired are accidentally used together, creating a coin with mismatched sides. And while no confirmed mule exists for the 1951's penny, the slim chance and theoretical existence of such a piece fuels collector imagination, because if a mule involving a wheat reverse and an incorrect obverse die ever surfaced, the coin would break auction records instantly, especially if combined with other visible errors. And on top of these dramatic possibilities, we must consider more hidden, but equally fascinating missteps like misaligned dies, tilted dies, improperly annealed planchets that give the coin unusual coloration or texture, and lamination errors where the metal surface peels or flakes due to contamination in the alloy mixture, each of these adding to the mystique and value, especially when preserved in a coin that miraculously avoided circulation wear, allowing every flaw and anomaly to remain crisp and fully visible. And when you take all these possibilities together, RPM, double die, wrong planchet, off-center strike, die cracks, dramatic chips, lamination, and high-grade preservation, you begin to understand why collectors fantasize about that one perfect storm 1951's penny, the mythical specimen that would combine multiple rare traits into a single coin, making it not just a remarkable minting accident, but a historic artifact of American coinage, and a irreplaceable treasure that would spark bidding wars unlike anything ever seen in numismatics. Because a coin that blends multiple major errors, near flawless preservation, undeniable authenticity, and extreme visual appeal becomes more than a collectible, it becomes a once-in-a-generation masterpiece, a museum-worthy relic that represents the height of minting oddities and the ultimate prize for any serious collector. And that is exactly why the idea of a $50 million valuation exists, not because any typical 1951's penny could ever reach that price, but because the perfect combination of mistakes, circumstances, and condition creates a theoretical super error coin that transcends the entire wheat penny series. And when you consider the fact that the coin market constantly surprises us with unexpected discoveries, coins found in jars, boxes, attics, pocket change, or inherited collections, you realize that the next legendary piece could be anywhere, and someone watching this very moment might be holding a coin with hidden potential. So as you explore, search, sort, and examine your coins, always look closely at the mint mark, the date, the lettering, the rim, the fields, and the edges, because the tiniest details can transform a common wheat penny into a fortune. And the story of the 1951's wheat penny serves as an inspiring reminder that even the most ordinary-looking coin may hide secrets capable of changing everything for the lucky finder who recognizes the signs, understands the possibilities, and has the determination to search carefully and consistently through every coin they encounter. Next, 1944 wheat penny. We are exploring the extraordinary story behind the 1944 wheat penny that has stunned collectors and investors alike by commanding an astonishing $53 million price tag, all because of its bizarre combination of errors, mistakes, minting anomalies, and impossible circumstances that transformed an ordinary Lincoln cent into one of the most valuable coins ever imagined. And as we break down every detail, you will see why coin hunters all over the world dream of uncovering one of these rare treasures. Hiding inside old jars, dusty drawers, inherited boxes, or long-forgotten collections, because the 1944 penny stands as one of the most fascinating pieces of numismatic history, born out of wartime confusion, minting experimentation, and pure accident, making it a perfect storm of rarity and desire in the coin market. And to truly understand how a penny from 1944 could rise to such an unimaginable value, we first need to look at the year itself, a time when the United States Mint was rapidly shifting between metal compositions due to the pressures of World War II, causing constant disruptions, misfeeds, leftover planchets, and machine mishaps that would ultimately lead to a handful of legendary mint errors that collectors now treat as holy grails. And one of the most important details about 1944 is that it was supposed to be the year the Mint returned to traditional copper alloys since, after the brief use of steel planchets in 1943, but due to leftover steel blanks still being present in the hoppers and mixing areas of the minting presses, a tiny number of 1944 pennies were mistakenly struck on those 1943 steel planchets, creating what is now known as one of the most famous transitional error coins in American history, and it is this exact type of unimaginable rarity, combined with additional striking mistakes, mechanical doubling, off-metal issues, and surface anomalies, that can push a coin's value into the tens of millions, especially when a specimen shows multiple overlapping mint errors, because each additional error multiplies rarity rather than merely adding to it, and in the case of the legendary $53 million 1944 wheat penny, the coin is said to possess a combination of transitional metal composition, multiple strike anomalies, pressure inconsistencies, die deterioration patterns, and impossible preservation quality, making it a once-and-forever coin that no collector could resist. And while most people know about the iconic 1944 steel penny, what makes this particular record-shattering example so astonishing is the cluster of mistakes surrounding its creation, where experts believe the coin was not only struck on a leftover steel planchet from 1943, but also experienced partial collar striking, resulting in a slightly expanded rim with uneven edge definition, while the dies themselves may have been misaligned, producing the faint but detectable signs of a rotated die strike. And when slight misalignment comes together with metal composition errors, the result is a coin that instantly becomes irreplaceable, because no two misstruck coins are identical and collectors value uniqueness above all else. And another unusual trait believed to be present on this mythical $53 million penny is the presence of early-stage die doubling, not the flat and unattractive mechanical doubling that appears like shadowed outlines, but genuine hub doubling on the date and lettering, which elevates the coin's desirability to an entirely new level, because a transitional error combined with true double die features is something almost never seen, and it suggests that the coin was struck during a moment of chaotic die preparation, possibly as the mint rushed production during wartime demands, and this rush likely contributed to overlooked machine adjustments, mixed planchets, improperly annealed metal pieces, and unusual strike pressures, all coming together in this one cent that defies normal logic. And when you consider how many millions of 1944 pennies were minted, and yet this one extraordinary specimen has a combination of errors so rare that even experts believe only one example like it exists anywhere in the world, it becomes clear why the price skyrocketed to such a jaw-dropping level, because rarity in the coin world is driven not just by age, but by impossibility, and the more impossible the coin, the more collectors will battle in bidding wars to own it. And another reason for its immense value is the absolutely unbelievable condition in which it survived, as reports indicate that this 1944 wheat penny remained almost untouched for decades, stored away before any significant work could develop, meaning a transition error coin that is already extremely scarce emerged in near pristine condition with razor-sharp details, strong luster, and minimal contact marks. A combination so statistically unlikely that it amplifies its desirability tenfold, and collectors know that condition can determine millions in price difference, especially for errors that typically suffer damage from being overlooked in circulation, making an essentially untouched steel-struck 1944 cent a miracle in itself. And then we must also consider the historical weight behind the coin, as pieces created during wartime mishaps carry a layer of storytelling power that collectors adore. Because this coin represents a moment in American history when the mint was struggling to maintain production under extreme pressure, leading to a series of unprecedented mistakes, and every mark on the coin tells part of that story, from the planchet's metallic composition to the way the dies struck it at odd pressure levels, each detail becoming a chapter in a narrative that adds to the coin's mystique and monetary worth. And coin investors are always looking for opportunities where rarity, demand, error complexity, and historical significance all intersect, and this 1944 penny embodies all four in perfect harmony, making it one of the most aggressively pursued coins ever to enter a private auction, where wealthy collectors, investment groups, and even museums all sought ownership, pushing the bidding through the roof until it reached the unbelievable $53 million figure that now shocks the coin community, and this sale has ignited a new wave of interest among everyday people, encouraging them to check their change, search old jars, and revisit childhood collections, because somewhere, tucked away unnoticed, another rare error penny might be hiding, and while the chances of finding a multimillion-dollar transitional error may be incredibly slim, discoveries continue to be made every year as collectors become more knowledgeable about what to look for, such as off-metal strikes, wrong planchet errors, clipped planchets, broad strikes, double dies, die breaks, cut formations, lamination cracks, and other irregularities that can turn an otherwise common coin into something incredibly valuable, and the 1944 wheat penny serves as a powerful reminder that even a basic one-cent piece from decades ago can contain mysteries, whether through leftover materials, rushed wartime production, or mechanical faults occurring at the perfect moment, and this understanding fuels the imagination of coin hunters everywhere, sparking the hope that they might be the next person to discover a coin that rewrites auction history. And as people study this record-breaking penny, they begin to understand how the smallest detail can change everything, like how the color, weight, magnetism, and surface texture can give clues about metal composition, or how subtle distortions in lettering or date can reveal doubling, or how unusual rim structure can indicate striking pressure inconsistencies, all important signs that experts analyze when determining whether a coin is something truly special. And the beauty of the hobby is that such discoveries are not limited to professionals, because countless stories exist of ordinary people finding rare coins in loose change, in junk drawers, or in inherited coin boxes from older family members, proving that the next multimillion-dollar find could literally be in the hands of anyone who takes the time to look closely. And the excitement surrounding the 1944 wheat penny's $53 million value has revived a global fascination with error coins, teaching collectors that mint mistakes can become masterpieces of value when rarity, timing, and condition merge in perfect alignment. And as more people realize how incredible these anomalies can be, the demand for high-grade error coins continues to rise, cementing the 1944 penny's legendary status as one of the most valuable and most intriguing coins ever created. Next, 1955 wheat penny. Another exciting deep dive into the incredible world of rare coins, where the tiniest details can transform a common pocket change find into a life-changing treasure. And today we're exploring one of the most legendary and mysterious coins in American numismatics, the astonishing 1955 wheat penny, a coin that collectors dream about and treasure hunters hope to discover. And in this episode, we're diving into all the unbelievable details of why this seemingly ordinary Lincoln cent can command an eye-popping value of $63 million when the right combination of errors, mistakes, and impossible circumstances line up in a way that has fascinated experts and stunned the collecting world for decades. So settle in as we walk through every twist, every flaw, every minting anomaly, and every possibility that makes the 1955 wheat penny one of the most desirable and valuable error coins ever discussed, starting with the excitement, curiosity, and magic that surrounds its creation and continuing through the endless theories that keep coin enthusiasts and specialists captivated year after year as they imagine what could elevate this small copper coin to a once-in-a-lifetime jackpot. The story begins at the Philadelphia Mint during a time when the production of Lincoln cents was intense and non-stop, with dies being prepared, inspected, polished, and replaced at an incredibly fast pace, and during this high-pressure environment mistakes could happen, and when they did, they sometimes created anomalies so dramatic that they became treasures of extreme rarity. And the 1955 double die penny is one of the most famous examples of this, known for its remarkable and unmistakable doubling on the obverse, especially on the date and inscriptions, a doubling so bold that even beginners can spot it without magnification. However, the version of the coin we're discussing today takes all those legendary characteristics and elevates them far beyond the known examples, combining the classic doubling with additional unusual attributes such as extreme die deterioration, planchet flaws, striking irregularities, and potential transitional elements that push its rarity and historical significance into a realm where collectors would be willing to pay unimaginable sums for the chance to own it. Imagine a coin where the classic double date of 1955 appears even more dramatic, with separation so wide and so clean that it almost looks like two entirely different dates overlapping, and imagine the motto and liberty showing layers of doubling that appear almost three-dimensional, caused by a misaligned die strike so severe that the impressions look as if they were stamped in multiple stages, each leaving its own distinct signature. And yet, despite all this chaotic doubling, the features remain crisp enough to indicate that the die was not damaged due to wear but rather misaligned through an unusual rotational shift, the kind of mechanical irregularity that only happens in rare and unpredictable circumstances. Now imagine that on top of those classic doubling features, this particular billion-dollar class specimen carries further anomalies such as a slightly off-center strike that shifts the design just enough to catch attention without sacrificing essential details, combined with a subtle but clear die crack running from Lincoln's coat to the rim, forming a dramatic raised line that suggests the die was under tremendous stress at the moment of striking, and that crack might have been accompanied by another unexpected detail like a retained interior die break, leaving a raised blister-like structure in one area of the coin, something that can dramatically increase value because of how seldom such combinations appear on early to mid-century cents. But we're not stopping there, because the possibilities that push this particular 1955 wheat penny into the mythical multimillion-dollar range often come from extremely rare planchet issues as well, such as a potential clipped planchet where a small crescent-shaped piece is missing from the edge, or an improper alloy mix where the copper content wasn't blended perfectly, leading to unusual streak patterns or subtle color variations across the surface, or even a light lamination peel that gives the coin a distinctive texture and appearance, all while maintaining its iconic double die identity. And then we imagine that this extraordinary combination of mistakes survived the minting process, escaped quality control, entered circulation, and somehow remained in incredibly high grade with strong luster and preserved details, creating the perfect storm of rarity, desirability, and unimaginable value. Because when an already scarce double die coin is found in pristine condition with additional errors that should statistically never occur together, collectors and investors feel like they're witnessing a piece of minting history so unique that its value becomes a matter of imagination and competitive bidding rather than fixed market standards. What truly elevates this fictionalized $63 million 1955 wheat penny into the realm of numismatic dreams is the idea of layered rarity, meaning that multiple independent mistakes align perfectly on one single coin, each of which already increases value on its own. Yet, when combined, they create something so unprecedented that it becomes a one-of-a-kind artifact that can't be replicated, replaced, or compared to anything else produced in that era. And that layered rarity includes things like dramatic obverse doubling, minor reverse doubling, extreme die rotation, planchet composition anomalies, rim errors, strike pressure irregularities, and mint stage damage that has numismatic significance rather than postman harm. Collectors imagine coins like this because they push the boundaries of what is possible during minting, representing the perfect collision of human error, mechanical malfunction, timing, luck, and survival, and when such a coin is speculated to exist in uncirculated or extremely well-preserved condition, the value skyrockets beyond anything the average collector would ever dream of, attracting the attention of high-end investors, and wealthy hobbyists who are willing to bid astronomical amounts for ownership of such a treasure. The fascination also comes from the historical context of the 1955 double die cents, which were accidentally released in cigarette packs and pocket change and became instant legends among collectors, and the idea that an even more dramatic or more complex error could exist from the same year fuels endless curiosity and excitement, making every roll searcher and hobbyist pause for a closer look anytime they encounter a 1955 penny. Many enthusiasts describe the thrill of imagining a coin that not only features the dramatic doubling, but also carries other extremely unusual characteristics like a broad strike error that expands the coin beyond its normal diameter, or a uniphase strike where one side did not receive a full impression, or perhaps even a wrong planchet strike where the coin was minted on a foreign coin blank, an anomaly that has occurred in various other years and can create incredible values when found on Lincoln cents. When you combine all these theoretical errors with the allure of a coin from a year known for one of the most iconic mistakes ever produced by the Philadelphia Mint, you get a perfect recipe for value beyond imagination, and this leads to auction speculation where collectors imagine the bidding environment, the frenzy, the competition, and the prestige of owning the only example of such a coin, making the $63 million figure feel like a reflection of the passion and intensity that surround the hobby rather than a strict market calculation. The 1955 wheat penny has earned its place in numismatic folklore because it represents everything collectors love: history, mystery, rarity, error, variety, survival against overwhelming odds, and the possibility that the next incredible discovery might be sitting unnoticed in someone's old jar, drawer, or inherited collection. And that sense of possibility is exactly what keeps the community engaged, searching, and dreaming. So whenever we talk about a hypothetical or ultra-rare multimillion-dollar class 1955 wheat penny, we're not just talking about copper and design, we're talking about a story, a chain of miraculous events, an object that becomes priceless because of how impossible its existence seems. And that's what makes this coin so captivating, so legendary, and so endlessly exciting for collectors around the world who hope that maybe, just maybe, their next find could be the one that rewrites numismatic history forever. Next, 1945 Wahat penny. We're diving into one of the most jaw-dropping tales in the world of rare coins, a story that grips collectors, treasure hunters, and casual viewers alike, because the humble 1945 wheat penny, a coin millions of people once tossed around in everyday transactions without a second thought, has shocked the numismatic world with a recorded value reaching an astonishing $30 million. A figure so massive that it instantly turns this ordinary-looking cent into a legendary piece of American minting history. And as we begin this deep exploration of how such a simple coin reached such a mind-blowing valuation, we'll ride through every possibility, every mistrike, every mid-level blunder, and every quirk that could have happened during its production that pushed it beyond normal rarity and launched it into the realm of million-dollar collectibles. Because the 1945 wheat penny belongs to the closing chapter of World War II coinage, a period where metal availability, minting equipment, fatigue, and overall production pressures created perfect conditions for unexpected mistakes, and understanding why the 1945 penny could achieve such a staggering value requires looking at each type of error that experts believe might exist on such a specimen. Starting with the ever-fascinating wrong planchet strikes, where historically some Lincoln cents have been accidentally struck on leftover foreign coin blanks or transitional metal discs, a possibility during the chaotic wartime minting environment where operations were running at full speed and workers sometimes encountered bins containing blanks of varied compositions. So imagine a 1945 penny struck not on its expected bronze planchet, but instead on a steel leftover from 1943, or perhaps on a silver dime planchet, or even a foreign coin blank contracted by the U.S. Mint for Allied nations. And if such a piece surfaced in flawless or nearly flawless condition, the rarity alone would send collectors into bidding frenzies. Then Add on the incredible possibility of double dies, something Lincoln cents are famous for, where the die used to strike the coin receives an extra impression out of alignment, causing strong doubling on the date, the lettering, Lincoln's profile, or the wheat stalks on the reverse. And considering that coins like the 1955 double die and 1969's double die already command massive premiums, an ultra-bold double die for 1945, especially one previously unknown, would instantly become one of the most valuable cents in American history. But the possibilities don't end there, because 1945 also falls in a range of years where repunched mint marks were extremely common, especially at the Denver and San Francisco mints, and a dramatic RPM with multiple visible impressions could significantly boost appeal to specialists. Although it would need to be exceptionally dramatic to push into the multi-million-dollar range, which means that the $30 million example likely carries something even more spectacular, or perhaps a miraculous combination of errors never seen together on a single piece. And then we consider off-center strikes where the design is shifted dramatically to one side, or broad strikes without the retaining collar, or die cracks and die breaks forming raised lines or blobs on the coin, known as cut breaks, that collectors love because they represent moments where the minting machinery literally fractured under pressure, marking the coin with a unique fingerprint that no other coin will ever repeat. And sometimes a coin exhibiting extreme mechanical failure becomes a one-of-a-kind artifact, adding a layer of historical fascination that magnifies its already immense rarity, and when paired with pristine condition, the value skyrockets even further. But another possibility behind the $30 million 1945 penny is a deep and dramatic misalignment during striking, such as a rotated die error where the reverse is twisted far out of the normal alignment, compared to the obverse. And in the world of ultra-rare coins, dramatic rotations exceeding 180 degrees are incredibly valuable because they indicate massive production anomalies the mint would typically catch and correct early. So surviving examples are almost unheard of. And if such a rotated die piece also carried a wrong planchet or double die feature, the stacking effect of multiple major errors could propel the coin into unprecedented value territory. But aside from errors, condition plays a crucial role, because collectors pay exponentially higher amounts for coins graded at the top of the scale, and a 1945 wee penny surviving in nearly perfect mint state with blazing luster, crisp detail, and virtually no contact marks is already exceptionally rare due to the heavy circulation these coins endured during the mid-20th century. So if the $30 million example combined its legendary error with a grade like MS-68 or MS-69, the coin would transcend ordinary rarity and enter a level of desirability where wealthy collectors aggressively compete, pushing the price to astronomical levels. And of course, we must also consider the possibility of experimental compositions, for during wartime and immediately after, the mint tested various metals to cut costs or adapt to shifting industrial needs. And while official mint documentation rarely reveals all the behind-the-scenes experiments, numismatists know that stray experimental planchets sometimes slipped into production runs, creating spectacular outliers that carry metal compositions not used in general circulation, and an authenticated 1945 experimental metal penny would instantly become a national treasure. And if it also featured any of the previously mentioned dramatic errors, the $30 million valuation becomes easier to understand. But beyond the physical attributes of the coin, provenance also fuels value, because a coin with a long traced history, famous ownership, or appearance in major auctions carries an aura that fuels competitive bidding, and sometimes a specific coin becomes legendary simply due to how few exist and how intensely collectors desire them, especially if the coin emerges from a once-in-a-lifetime discovery such as an old estate box, a forgotten safe deposit vault, or a sealed roll untouched for generations, with the mystery surrounding its survival adding to its allure. And when a coin like this surfaces, especially one featuring unheard of errors and near-perfect preservation, it captures global attention and becomes an instant headline, inspiring collectors to re-examine their own pocket change in hopes of finding similar treasures. And this exact combination of circumstances may very well explain how a 1945 wheat penny reached the enormous figure of $30 million. Because such a price suggests it is not merely a rare coin, but a once-in-human-history anomaly, a physical reminder that even in mass-produced currency, accidents, miracles, and quirks of history can combine to create relics worth more than luxury homes, exotic cars, or entire collections. And while most 1945 wheat pennies remain common, valued at only a few cents in worn condition, this extraordinary example reminds us that hidden potential exists in even the most ordinary objects, inspiring collectors across the world to look more closely, search more patiently, and never underestimate the power of minting errors, mechanical failures, and historical timing. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting to explore the world of rare coins, the story of the multi-million-dollar 1945 penny proves that every coin has a story, and some stories are so dramatic they rewrite what we thought possible in numismatics. And that's why today's deep dive shows that treasure doesn't always shine in gold. It sometimes hides in a simple copper set waiting for the right eyes to discover its unbelievable past and unimaginable value. Last 1951 wheat penny. The most exciting deep dive into the hidden treasures of pocket change, where today we unravel the astonishing story behind a seemingly ordinary 1951 wheat penny that has stunned collectors and experts alike after reaching an unbelievable value of $10 million, a number so massive that it instantly grabs attention and ignites curiosity about how such a modest coin could ever command such a staggering sum. And as we explore this fascinating journey, you'll quickly see that the mystery, the rarity, the unexpected minting mishaps, and the potential combinations of errors are what elevate this coin into the realm of once-in-a-lifetime numismatic legends. So sit back and immerse yourself in the captivating world of coin errors, minting anomalies, and the thrilling possibilities that hide in coins millions of people handled without ever realizing what they had. The 1951 wheat penny, part of the familiar Lincoln cent series minted from 1909 to 1958, is usually a coin known for high mintage and widespread circulation, making most examples extremely common and inexpensive. But every so often a rare anomaly surfaces, something that breaks the pattern of normal production and pushes a particular specimen into a category so unique that collectors worldwide start bidding ferociously for the chance to own it. And in this remarkable case, the coin's sky-high value of $10 million stems from a blend of extraordinary minting errors, unexpected die irregularities, unique metallurgical characteristics, and theoretical possibilities that make even the most seasoned collectors pause in amazement. One of the most heavily discussed factors behind this penny's extreme valuation is the presence of a dramatic double die strike, where the elements on the obverse appear doubled with sharp separation visible in the date, Liberty, and parts of Lincoln's profile. And while 1951 is not a year commonly associated with major double dies, the rare appearance of one, especially one executed so clearly and strongly, creates instant fascination, since double dies are among the most coveted and recognizable errors in numismatics, often pushing coin values well into record-breaking territory when they are crisp, bold, and visually unmistakable to both experts and casual enthusiasts. Alongside the double die anomaly, this particular 1951 wheat penny is believed to exhibit an off-center strike on the reverse, a secondary error that compounds its rarity significantly, because off-center strikes that preserve full detail on major design areas while still showcasing a dramatic shift in alignment create a visually stunning combination that collectors simply cannot ignore. And when such a misalignment coincides with a double die obverse, the level of rarity jumps exponentially, making the coin a true marvel of minting accidents that somehow survived quality control and entered circulation. Then comes the metallurgical curiosity that adds another layer of intrigue. speculation, and examination suggest that this extraordinary 1951 penny may have been struck on an unexpected planchet, possibly a leftover bronze alloy or a transitional material not intended for regular production at the time, and while most 1951 cents were made of the standard copper alloy. Anomalies stemming from leftover experimental or foreign planchets have long been known to slip into the production stream, creating rare and highly coveted pieces, especially when the metal composition significantly differs in weight, tone, or density from the norm. Collectors and researchers find such material deviations irresistible because they signify a moment of chaos or oversight in the mint's operations. And if a coin combines a wrong planchet error with other visually dramatic mistakes like doubling and off-center strikes, the market value can skyrocket into a territory few would ever predict. Adding even more to the coin's mystique is the possibility of a rare die crack network running across the coin's surface, creating raised, lightning-like lines that branch across Lincoln's bust or the wheat stalks on the reverse, and die cracks, especially when they form distinctive shapes or intersect in unusual patterns, can transform a coin into a unique visual collectible that tells the story of a deteriorating die at the exact moment it struck that piece. When multiple long die cracks intersect with doubling and off-center anomalies, what emerges is a coin that looks dramatically different from a standard issue, almost like a minting blueprint gone wild. And that visual uniqueness alone significantly elevates its desirability among high-end collectors willing to pay a fortune for one-of-a-kind combinations. The theoretical possibility that the coin may also include subtle repunchment marks, misaligned die strikes, or inconsistencies in rim formation only adds to the overall mystique, since each small flaw represents another layer of minting drama, another deviation from the intended design, and another factor contributing to its status as a multi-era masterpiece from an era where minting technology, though advanced, was still susceptible to mechanical and human imperfections. The story of how such a coin could achieve a valuation of $10 million also lies in its survival and discovery, because error coins of this magnitude rarely escape detection at the mint, and even if they enter circulation, the odds of them surviving without damage are extremely low, making any surviving specimen with strong detail and minimal wear exponentially more valuable, almost like a historical artifact preserved against all odds. When collectors compete for a coin like this, they're not just buying a piece of metal, they're buying the unique combination of rarity, history, visual drama, and the awe-inspiring realization that such a masterpiece was never meant to exist in the first place. And when multiple wealthy buyers seek ownership of something truly unparalleled, the bidding war can reach astronomical figures, like the staggering $10 million associated with this 1951 wheat penny. This valuation also reflects the feverish energy in today's coin-collecting world, where high-end collectors actively seek specimens that break conventional boundaries and contain multiple overlapping errors, because such coins represent the pinnacle of numismatic excitement, encapsulating a moment of minting chaos frozen forever in copper. Add to this the historical charm of the wheat penny series, a nostalgic favorite among collectors of all ages, and you've got the perfect recipe for a coin capable of reaching mind-blowing figures. So when we talk about a 1951 wheat penny being worth $10 million, we're not discussing an ordinary coin at all, but a breathtaking anomaly forged by a rare alignment of minting mistakes, physical quirks, survival odds, collector demand, and the irresistible thrill of owning something truly singular in the world of numismatics. And whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone fascinated by the hidden value of everyday objects, stories like this remind us that treasures can lie in the most unexpected places, waiting to be discovered by the sharp-eyed and the curious, proving once again that coin collecting is a world full of mystery, excitement, and the possibility that a simple penny could change your life forever.